been about 80 hours since Camille was taken, and I say that because we know that every minute counts. And this goes back to the importance of the community, the importance of tips, the importance of leads. No matter how small, whatever detail you have or you may think, it's not important, just call police, call Crime Stoppers. If a child is in the 3rd grade and they're reading at the right level, they're more likely to graduate high school than a child who is not. And there are numerous studies that support this. If you have to take 2059 to go to or go through downtown Birmingham, your life's about to change because this section right here is closing for at least a year. The officer who was right here at this checkpoint, he got the call to go back to the command center. Take a look at the backside of the apartment building. What you're looking at right there, that is part of Shades Creek, and you can see the running water. You can see how much the water has risen. Since I've been out here, there have been even more police units coming up here. You can see there are at least a dozen in the past few minutes. At first, some people didn't know exactly what was happening because of all of the commotion. But when Clay Sullivan was locked inside of Old Navy, he said they looked out, they saw the cops, and they knew what they heard was gunshots. While I go over the rest of Clay Sullivan's story, what you're looking at is footage of the aftermath. These red marks on here, that's from a cattle feeder that weighs over a ton that hit his car, and he was inside of this car when the tornado hit. 2 things. First off, one, no one was hurt. That's what we've heard from Chief Gene Coleman. That's so far. And 2, the building where this happened was vacant. What you're looking at is what's left right now. You can see over here, the roof has collapsed within. If you look over to the left of your screen, literally there's nothing. There's just rubble. I was able to find out that the South is the deadliest place in the country to be a police officer. That's according to the FBI. Don't give up. This search is still ongoing. The Amber Alert has not been canceled. You can use a belt, or you can use a tie or a scarf or even a shirt, but for this purpose, because it's part of the training, we are using one of these kits. You know how Claire was saying there's the sound of chainsaws buzzing there? Here it's different. It's quiet. It seems like people are still a little bit shell-shocked, coming out and taking a look at all the damage like this. That right there, that's the foundation for this home right here, Kelsey. And then if you come over here and take a look, you see that this home right here has been flipped over, and then the one right across from me, a third of it is gone. I am with Principal Sarah Peterson. She is the new kid on the block here at Hueytown Middle. Principal Peterson, just a few minutes ago, you were outside, you were directing traffic, you had people going all over the place. Now we're in the gym. This is the first day of school. Here's my water, I'm hydrating. Rule of thumb is this: if you feel like you're thirsty, it's already too late. So what we're gonna talk about is how to come back from that brink or that point of no return. One thing to save a life, but it's another thing to save a life of a relative, and that's exactly what Johnny Robinson did. And we are here for the surprise that just happened, right guys? We got some sawing with Lumberjill, Lumberjack, and then there's Nick. Yeah, doing some axe throwing. It's all a part of the grand opening for Duluth Trading Company here in Hoover. We have more coming up. Why'd you stop? The new Billy Reid store just opened here at Pepper Place. I'm here to find out, 1, who's Billy Reid, and 2, what's the story behind his fashion? They get an item,
yeah,
and they walk out. Describe the feeling that you want them to have. For more on the man that is Billy Reid or his stores, any of them around the country, go to MagicCityWeekend.com. And you know what? For everything else this Magic City Weekend, just go to MagicCityWeekend.com as well. See ya. It's been a year and a half since Steve Marshall's wife, Bridget, passed after taking her life. He and their daughter are adjusting to a new normal, but it's their story as a family which they want to use to help others. If you feel that you or someone you know need help, we will have the number for the suicide prevention line up throughout the story. If you could have one more conversation with Bridget, what would that be?
If she were still alive, it would be that she is remarkable and that she is loved and that there's nothing that she couldn't get through or that we couldn't get through together. And if I could see her today, it's just that she's missed. And it's the little things, I guess, that you miss the most.
Like being able to call your wife to share frustrations or achievements or the pecan pie everyone looked forward to her making during the holidays. It's part of State Attorney General Steve Marshall's new normal for him and their daughter. June 2018, he very publicly talked about Bridget Marshall's struggle with mental illness and suicide, which he describes as the person that you love taking the life of the person that you love.
Being on the phone with Bridget right before it happened, and as somebody, I think I've shared this, that has been professionally in the business of talking to juries and trying to persuade people about doing certain things, and the one moment that those skills in a very personal way come to bear and you cannot convince somebody of the need and the desire to live.
Marshall says that was difficult, but there's only so much we can do. Marissa Grayson is the chair of our state's American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. She lost her father to suicide and uses that example to explain.
So I could tell my dad that I loved him. I could be that support system. I could try to trigger the part of him that wants to live, which is usually tied to sense of community, maybe faith, maybe family, friends, etc. But then also not try to play a role that I couldn't. And so not giving up, encouraging someone to get help.
Both Grayson and Marshall say timing is important in overcoming suicide.
And it was the ability to get past that one moment in time that was what allowed them to be able to ultimately decide to live.
Marshall and Grayson say there is hope and there is help, and that really it's just a moment that you need to get through. For that, you can contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's 800-273-TALK, or you can text TALK to 741-741. If it's an emergency, call 911. And you can see Steve Marshall's full raw interview and more stats in this story on the WBRC app. I'm Bakari Savage, WBRC, Fox 6 News, on your side.